This here's our new porta cable joiner, and we are going to unbox it, show you everything that's inside here. Brand new. Obviously you're gonna have a manual with this unit. You got some hardware clips, Allen wrench here. And then you've got the unit itself. This is the joiner. It's a 6-inch joiner. See here is a fence. So you can see here is the main unit. This is what's gonna surface your stock pieces. You've got the blade of the joiner right here. Then there's some additional components that were underneath the unit. You've got your grippers or pushers as you're moving pieces along the surface of the joiner. Looks like a little clamp here. And then it kind of looks like a little funnel, maybe for dust collection. Here's a close-up of the main machine here. You've got your blade guard. That ensures you're always feeding it across here, and it will only expose the blades as your workpiece is going across it, and that will automatically block the blade. Good safety feature there. You got speed control down here, dial, obviously on-off switch here, and then these controls all go to the depth adjustment. Everything here is very solid construction. This is all metal. There's a few plastic knobs here, but otherwise this is all really well constructed. Before putting this into use, they do have oil from a factory on here, and that just kind of helps ensure protection of the bolts and just during assembly process, but they do recommend to wipe that off. That way you're not going to get it all over your workpiece. The tables appear to be very flat. One note, the outfeed side here is just a hair higher than the infeed side. It's probably hard to see on camera, but you could maybe slide a piece of paper over here on the infeed side, and that is intentional. That way, as you're sliding wood across the infeed, it goes across the blade and then lifts up slightly here at the outfeed. To assemble the joiner, it's really just a matter of getting the fence installed. You've got the 2 brackets that are supplied along with the fence itself. Really the only tools you need are these 2 hex wrenches that are provided as well. And what we're gonna do is just remove the 2 bolts here, and then this bracket here will mount in place there using those 4 bolts. You can see how everything just really slides together easily. All the holes line up, makes for an easy bracket installation here. Next, we're going to install the fence bracket, the sliding bracket here. And we're just using the supplied hardware. So you can see when we got this locked down, sliding bracket doesn't move. We loosen it, and now we're able to slide it. You can see here, the nut on the underside of that sliding bracket just fits nicely into the groove here, holds it in place, and allows you to loosen and tighten as needed without really having to even touch this nut anymore. So now we're going to install these button head screws here, and those are just going to fit into these 2 holes here on our sliding bracket. And so once we have these button screws just finger tight, we're going to slide our fence over the top of these to hold it in place. Here's our fence. This is the front side, this is the back side, and this is the groove that we're going to slide across those square buttons. See that? It's in place, and now we'll go ahead and tighten up the bolts. And as we slide the fence in place, you'll see this rounded section here that goes over the cutter. So there's one more piece that we need to install here. This is the cutter head lock. And so you can see cutter head is here as we remove kind of that guard from it. And the shaft of that cutter head is right here. Kind of hard to see, but the intent of this guard is to allow you to lock the cutter into place as you're making adjustments. So we are going to use this bottom hole of the guard and mount it. We're going to mount it to that bottom bolt there. So with that cutter head guard in place, you can see I've got it in the locked position. This is going to prevent you from being able to rotate the blade. And then if we want to unlock it, we simply just flip that down and now it's able to freely rotate. So this is how it's going to be during normal operation. The locked position is solely if you're making adjustments. And if you have a dust collector, there's a side location here on the joiner where you'd remove these 4 screws and simply slide this into place, and then you could connect your vacuum port there. So we do not have a dust collector, so we're not going to use that, but that is where you'd install it if you do have one. Overall dimensions of this unit are 30 inches in length. That's from the in-feed to the out-feed table. And then it is it's close to 17 or 18 inches from the back of the mounting bracket to the front of the guard here. So that's kind of the footprint you're looking at. Pretty much a 30 by 18 area needed for this. So the joiner can be pretty portable. There are 4 mounting holes at the corners of the machine. So you could mount this to a workbench or other work surface if you have a spot available for it. So depending on the width of your wood, you may need to adjust the fence here to accommodate, and it is super simple. All you do is you have this thumb screw back here loosened. That allows you to slide this, and then once you've got your desired width, you can go ahead and tighten that down. And now you're ready to go. You may also find it useful to raise or lower this fence, and that's just with this other lever back here. You simply loosen, and it allows you to slide it upwards a bit, or even swivel it. There's also a set screw here on the swivel for the fence that you can use to actually set stops between 90 degrees and 45 degrees. So that can be useful if you find that you'll be doing more than just 90 degree joinery. So if you're looking for squareness as you are using this, you'll definitely want to make sure that you've got the fence kind of squared up. It is a swivel fence, so if you do need to make kind of any sort of angled joinery, you can do that. But I've just got a square here to help me ensure I've got a nice 90-degree angle between the table and the fence here. So with the depth adjustment, you can go anywhere down from pretty much just a fraction of a hair at the 0 marking here, all the way up to 1/8 of an inch. So there's your scale of how much you can shave off at any given single pass. And to make a depth adjustment, it is super quick and easy. You simply loosen this knob up, and then you use this to change your depth. And you'll see the red gauge here that is going to change as I am moving this knob over here, and that's changing essentially the plane of the infeed so that you're getting kind of a lower height here at the infeed, which means your cutter will be taking more off as your piece moves across it. So once you have made your adjustment to your desired thickness that you'd like to remove, you go ahead and lock your locking knob back into place, and that'll keep everything nice and steady. So a quick demonstration of the speed control on here. I'm going to turn this on and you're going to hear the sound, and as I turn the dial here for speed control, you'll hear a change in the pitch. not super loud, but definitely if you're going to be using this for a while, you'll want to use some hearing protection. But that's just an example of the speed control, and that will vary dependent on the stock of wood, the species of wood. All those things will go into how fast you want to run your joiner. So here's just a 1-inch piece of stock that I have. There's a slight curvature as we move along it here. We're going to use this new joiner here to help get this board nice and straight. So I've got the joiner depth set to 1/32 of an inch, and I'm gonna go ahead and run this through the joiner. After running this through the joiner, it has eliminated the little bit of curvature that I was having and really provided a nice flat surface. The joiner is super easy to use. You can see the finish. The knives here are pretty sharp. Leaves a nice smooth finish. I will still be sanding this down a little bit, but yeah, that is really a quality product here. Super easy to use. This is the first joiner I've had, and it did not take me long in being able to really find use for it.